Reversal Explained. Our lectures are going to start right at 6 o'clock each week when you come, and I want to thank each one of you for being here. And we just learned a few minutes ago that we are able to also make this available as a Facebook Live event. So there will be people hopefully joining us in a few minutes online as well. So our topic tonight is getting started with diabetes reversal, and that's what you all came for. And we hope to make that something that you will feel like you certainly have gotten your money's worth for. Who are we? My name is Stephen Wickham, and this is Karen. We're both registered nurses. We were living in Grundy County about 12 years ago and found out that the state had done an assessment of every county in the state, and Grundy County was the rock bottom solid. I mean, they were the worst in the state.
They were number 95 out of 95 counties for
So,
their health rankings.
When we found that out, Karen started to, she began writing a grant for the county to get some help. And the county was eventually awarded that grant. But we wrote into the grant that we wanted to do something more than just manage diabetes. We wanted to teach people how to reverse diabetes. 2 years before that, I had been approached by an international health lecturer. His name was Chuck Cleveland. And he said, I'd like to mentor you in a program of diabetes reversal. And I'm looking at him like, you're doing what? Because at that time, we were pretty much teaching people that diabetes was a lifetime disease. Once you have it, it will get progressively worse, and your doctor about every 6 months or so would be increasing your medicines, and ultimately you would die of complications of diabetes. But the better you controlled your blood sugar, the longer you could expect to live. That was the situation we were coming into. But when I learned that we could actually reverse the disease, I said, let's check this out and see if we can teach people how to reverse diabetes. With almost 8 billion people in the world, I said somebody has to have already produced a program on diabetes reversal. We were under a time crunch to get the grant application in, and so rather than do the research first, I said, let's just find the program, let's write it into the grant now, and we'll find the program. Well, we started searching for the program, and we could not find anything that did what we wanted to accomplish at an affordable rate. Ultimately, I said, well, I'll write one. So we started with the bibliography from the program we had been mentored on, and we expanded our scientific research. Everything you see here, everything that we are going to teach you is well documented in the scientific literature. But this is a best practices program, which means instead of it being evidence-based program where it's been around for 10 or 12 years and people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to collect data on how to do it, this is giving you the best of what science says. If we do these things, this is what will control the diabetes, and it's upheld by many studies. So tonight's topic then is getting started with diabetes reversal.
And in the meantime, if you need a restroom, it is down the hall there on the right, men and ladies restroom down there around that corner beyond the chairs there. And also, any of the staff that have yellow tags on, we are the volunteers, and you can ask any of us if you have a question, you need help with something. Debbie is our fearless leader. She is our coordinator that's right here in the back. Wave, there we go. Thank you, Debbie. And also, we have a couple physicians that are here that if you have any special questions for them, you can pick their brains as well. And that is Dr. Ken Colburn here in the red shirt, and Dr. David White is sitting in the back there. So we appreciate them being here to help as we are going through this. So now that part's done.
Yeah, I do not ever want to disparage anybody in the medical professions. I've worked in the medical professions for years. They're doing the best that they know, and you know your medical doctor has in his bag of tricks. He has lots of medications to help artificially control your blood sugar. But only you can reverse the disease, and it happens in your kitchen, one little decision at a time.
And we're going to get to that more.
Yes, we will get to that. Absolutely. I want to personal belief. So if you will indulge me, as we get into this, I believe that God also will help us at us, in a time like this, because it's His will to prosper. And so I would like to just have a short prayer for you before we get started. Heavenly Father, the people assembled here, and there's some that will be joining us as well. And I pray that you will be with each person that has determined in their heart that they want to be free from this disease, that you will help their minds to be alert, understand the things that they need to know, and that as we go through this program, I just pray that you will bless them with better health and diabetes reversal. Thank you for hearing this simple prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
So this program is for educational purposes only. You hired your physicians to work with you. We want you to maintain that relationship. You have a letter that was given to you with your materials tonight that we would like for you to take to your physician, and it tells them that you are wanting to attend and participate and learn. If you are on medications, ask your physician if they can give you a plan to help you safely come off of your medications. We do not prescribe anything, but we educate you on the things that you can do that will help make a difference in your life. So remember that. You'll see that every single week, that this is for educational purposes only.
At the conclusion of tonight's program, you should be able to define insulin resistance. We can hardly talk about diabetes without talking about insulin resistance, and you should be able to state the primary role of insulin and identify the first steps you need to take toward diabetes reversal. So here we go.
Okay. For whatever reason, that is backwards.
I'm sorry. Maybe I punched it twice.
All right, Norman, when he first came to our seminar, he had been a diabetic for 23 years, or 24 years. He was pale. He did not have a lot of energy. He spent a lot of his time on the couch at home. He had started having complications of diabetes. He was on a lot of medications, 23 medications, and even with all the medications, he was still taking 6 insulin shots a day. He weighed almost 300 pounds, and his blood sugar was still running 350. He came through the program. He started implementing the changes in his life, and afterwards, and this was a year and a half afterwards, when we met together and had a follow-up meeting, he was down to 7 medications, 2 to 3 insulin shots a week. He had lost 98 pounds, and most of the time, his blood sugar was less than 140. What his physician did is he put him on a sliding scale so that if his blood sugar was above 140, he would take whatever medication he needed based on his scale. But if it was less than 140, he didn't have to take an insulin shot. So that's why most of the time, it was less than 140. So he was doing so much better. He got out on the trails in Grundy County. He started helping his neighbors chop wood or whatever they needed. He was going to the ball games with his kids, and he was so happy to have his life back.
You know, there's Hosea 4:6 says, "My people die for a lack of knowledge." I maintain that if people simply knew what they needed to do, most people would make a lot of changes in the right direction. They may not do everything I say, probably nobody does, but the more that you do of the things that we're going to teach you about, the greater your chances of reversal are. And the science indicates that most people with type 2 diabetes, especially those that have had diabetes for 10 years or less, there's virtually 100% chance that they will be able to reverse. So we want to give you that knowledge that is so important. So what is type 2 diabetes? It is a disease of carbohydrate intolerance that is characterized by increased insulin resistance, abnormal blood sugar levels, and it's often associated with obesity. So, and when we talk about this, we have to talk about insulin, and insulin is a hormone that regulates your blood sugar, but it also has a role to play in weight gain and growth, physical body growth. It's very similar, insulin resistance is very similar to what somebody might know about, when somebody starts using illicit drugs. So say, for instance, they start using these drugs and the first dose gives them a great high. They feel good with that high. And so they come back next time and take it, but it doesn't give them the same kind of buzz. They need just a little bit more of the drug. And so over a period of time, they develop a resistance to that drug so they can take increasingly larger doses. And I've literally given people doses in the hospital of certain narcotic drugs that would kill an ordinary person. And yet they lay there, they're wide awake, and it doesn't even do what it's supposed to them. So that is drug resistance. Well, the same thing applies to insulin resistance, except your body makes insulin. And so if we understand insulin resistance intuitively, I believe you'll probably understand some of the things that you need to know on what to do in order to reverse diabetes, and that all happens in the cells.
So the body has, they say 37.2 trillion cells. I don't know who counted them, but that's what they say. Each requires energy to function, and the energy that they want is glucose. Now, you'll hear us talking about sugar and glucose. We kind of use it interchangeably. Actually, they're quite different, but they have to have glucose or sugar for energy to function. And the brain, the only one that it will use is glucose. Now, the cells are like a house. They're covered with doors, front door, back door. The house has a front door, back door, garage door, doggy door, whatever. You have lots of doors in your house. And the cell is that way. The cell has lots of doors, but they're all locked. We have to have a key. What do you think the key is? Insulin is the key, absolutely. So once the door is unlocked and the energy is put into the cell, it is burned for the energy. But when we have extra, it stores it in a very concentrated form. And Steve calls it, okay, do I have the green one?
Yes, you do.
That should show?
Yes.
It's
not going to show.
Not showing.
Okay, this one right here. There's a little furnace in every cell. In fact, there's multiple furnaces in every cell. We call them mitochondria. That's not on the test. So, but go ahead. I'm stealing your line.
That's okay. And so when the furnace can't use all of it that is put into the cell, then it puts some in storage, a little cupboard, as we say. It puts it in storage. And when you need it, when you have a rush and you really need, like an adrenaline rush, and you need some energy, then the cell will take some of that out of storage and throw it back in the furnace so you can have a burst of energy. So it's an important process. And so normally, here's what happens. We eat a meal and the blood sugar rises. The message goes down to the pancreas to let some of the insulin out so that it can open the doors to the cells where the food is moved into the cell and the sugar is put into the cells. The blood sugar in the bloodstream returns to normal, and the sugar is used for energy. That is a normal metabolic process. But what happens when we get insulin resistance is the cells are overfed, and so they take some of that extra and they keep putting it into the storage, and pretty soon the cupboard gets full, and so the cell says, what am I going to do? I don't need any more sugar in here. And so it takes some of that extra that has been put in and it makes gum out of it, so to speak. And it plugs up the locks. So when insulin comes along to put the sugar into the cell, it has to work harder to find a door that is unlocked. So in this process, there are fewer doors for it. Therefore, we eat a meal, the blood sugar rises, it takes more insulin to be released from the pancreas to go around and find the remaining doors that are open. The sugar is put into the cells, but we still have the issue that the cells are overfed. So we get this process that's going round and round, and we call that insulin resistance. It's so our cells are locked, the doors on our cells are locked, and it takes more and more insulin. We're going to talk about insulin, not tonight, but in one of our other meetings, we'll explain more about the insulin and the work that it does and why it's a problem when our insulin levels are so high. But when we have the insulin resistance, we get a lot of symptoms. Upper abdominal obesity, fatigue, just so tired. Migrating aches and pains, could be a headache one day and shoulder pain the next and foot pain the next. It's just all over the place. Intense cravings for sugar. Trouble losing weight. You had trouble losing weight? Yes, a lot of people have insulin resistance have great difficulty losing weight. Hormone imbalance. High cholesterol and triglycerides. My triglycerides were almost 600. I can tell you all that I've been there. I've done this. And so I have the T-shirt, but I don't wear it. Low thyroid, constant hunger, high blood pressure, polycystic ovarian disease and breast disease, and increased fat storage. These are all symptoms that we may be insulin resistant. So insulin resistance is a condition caused by a lifestyle in which the energy intake is greater than the energy spent. So where do we start to do something about this?
Well, the first place we start is we need to set goals. And our goals are SMART goals. They are goals that have been used for more than 60 years now in business and to great effect. But if we don't know where we're going, how are we going to get there? So a SMART goal is something that's specific. So you will learn in our course that one of the important things we need to do in order to reverse diabetes is you have to lose weight. Even if you're a normal-sized person, you have to lose a little bit of weight in order to reverse the diabetes. So if I say I want to lose weight, is that a good goal? Yes. Is it a SMART goal? Oh, I got mixed messages there. I got some yeses and no. Is it a SMART goal? Is it specific? Okay, so what we need to do is we need a goal that's specific. So if I said, I want to lose 10 pounds, is that specific? Okay. Can you measure 10 pounds? Can you measure lose weight? Not very well. You know, you can, but you have to have a reference point. Anyway, is it attainable? Well, now that just really depends. If my goal is to lose weight by 10 pounds by this time tomorrow, no, that is not attainable. That is not realistic. It is relevant, but it is not realistic. So, and it needs to be time-based. If I say I want to lose 10 pounds before this class is over in 8 weeks, is that measurable?
Yes.
Is it attainable? Yes, 1 to 2 pounds a week is a good weight loss goal. In 1 year, if you lost 1 pound a week, how many pounds would you lose in 1 year? 52. I talked to a lady last night that came through our program, just last night. She has lost 150 pounds since she started the program. She still has a little sugar issue. She still has a little more room where she could lose some more weight, but her diabetes is in so much better control. So not everybody will lose, not everybody will reverse, but you will certainly improve your chances, and the harder you work at it, the more that happens. So those are what SMART goals are, and every night at the end of the night, we are going to be working on setting SMART goals. So, don't go out of the room here until you've set some SMART goals. Okay? We'll help you with that. Second thing, fiber. If you're going to reverse your diabetes, you've got to increase your fiber intake. You have to eat more fiber. Now, why is that? Well, there's several really good reasons, and I'll just touch them briefly, but we'll talk more about that at another time as well. Number one, the fiber forms a gel in the intestine, and it slows the absorption of sugar. After a meal, you know how your blood sugar typically spikes and then comes back down? Well, when it slows the absorption of the sugar, instead of having a sharp spike, you have a slow rise. So the amount of fiber that you eat is very important. Now, just a word of caution. If you're going to increase the fiber in your diet, you need to do it gradually. When somebody is not used to eating fiber and they go up to 50 grams of fiber a day, where I want you to be for the rest of your life, if you make that transition, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of gas, you're going to have abdominal cramping, discomfort, you're going to not like me, and the people around you won't like being around you, and you're going to abandon the program. And there's a real good reason for that. You see, in your intestine, you have a lot of bacteria that grow. And these bacteria like to feed on the fiber. But when you're not growing the right kind of bacteria, the fiber sits there and ferments. And that's what causes the gas. But when you have you give your body some time to adjust, you're going to experience food cravings in the meantime because the bacteria ask for specific foods that they want. There's an imbalance that happens in the gut of people that have diabetes. And so we need to turn that imbalance around, and the way we do that also is increasing fiber. So what foods contain fiber? That is plants. The only place we can get fiber in our diet is from plants. And it's like every plant has their own specific fingerprint. So you need a wide variety of plants, and you'll eventually need to get to the place where you're eating 30 different kinds of plants every week. That's about 5 different kinds of plant-based foods a week. So you got to do some eating, guys. And oftentimes I have people that come to me and say, well, I just can't eat all this food. Well, if you can't eat all this food, I want you to eat your fiber foods first. This is very important. So there's a real strong scientific basis for this. And so I want you to start out. The easiest way to know if you're getting too much fiber is simply count the fiber grams. So beans are the king of fiber. In half a cup of like pinto beans, for instance, there will be 8 grams of fiber. If you don't eat, if you eat more than half a cup, you watch out because your fiber numbers can go up really rapidly. 1 cup is how much? 16, good math. Okay, what happens if I have a cup and a half? Okay, 16 plus 8, 24. There you go. So you see, if you had a cup and a half of pinto beans, you've exceeded your first day's goal for fiber. So it's easy to get too much fiber if you're not careful, but we live in a world, if you're eating a lot of refined foods, then the fiber has been stripped out of them. More than likely. Most of the fiber will be stripped out. So we need to count them. So read labels on the nutrition facts. It'll tell you how much fiber is there. Oh, here's an easy way to do it. Hey Siri, how much fiber in 1 serving of asparagus? Okay, it says, asparagus has more than 1 gram of soluble fiber per cup. So it's not really high in fiber. Hey Siri, how much fiber in 1 serving of navy beans? 32 grams. Yeah, their serving must be about a cup and a half, maybe 2 cups. You be sure and look at the serving size. But that's one of the easiest ways you can do it. Just go to your search engine and just ask the question. Hey Siri, how much fiber in a McDonald's Big Mac? No, there's something there. 5 grams of fiber. There you go. So no matter where you are, if you're in a restaurant, most of the time Siri knows enough that they can give you the number of grams and you just keep track of your total. If you like an app for your phone, there's a good app. It's called MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal. So you can just go to your app store and you can key in MyFitnessPal, and then it has about 3 million recipes in their data bank. And so, if you're eating ordinary food, it's going to just calculate all the fiber for you if you just tell it what you're eating. And it'll give you a warning when you get up to 30 grams of fiber and say you're eating too much fiber. Well, don't believe them, because we need to go to 50. We need to go to 50. But it's a great app. And it also gives you the ability, if you have grandma's potato salad that's run in your family for years, and it's not in the data bank, well, that's all right. You can enter the recipe, and it calculates the fiber for you. So, anyway, it'll calculate other things like sodium content and fat grams and all that kind of other stuff too. It's really a really good app if you want to use that. Now, when people begin adding fiber to their diet, they've got to be careful, because sometimes they will experience some severe constipation at first. Most people will have looser stools, but some people will experience constipation. So if you start feeling like your bowels are getting locked up, drink more water. That would be first intervention. Secondly, you may want to take an over-the-counter laxative or talk with your doctor and get some help before it causes a problem. This is usually not a long-term problem, but it does happen in a few individuals. So I just wanted to be sure that you know that. Make sure that you're drinking 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses of water a day. Now, how can you drink that much? Well, when you get up in the morning, try drinking maybe even up to a quart of water. It flushes your kidneys out. Then you sip on your water as you go throughout the day. 2 or 3 times every half hour, you take a mouthful of water and swallow it. And one of the things we find is that thirst is often mistaken for hunger. So if your body is well hydrated, you won't be as hungry. The other thing is, if you're well hydrated, your blood sugar levels tend to be down. And a lot of people will lose a certain amount of sugar in their urine anyway. So if your if you're well hydrated, you might be using that means as well to control your blood sugars. Now, when we talk about foods, I've already said that it's the plant-based foods that contain the fiber. So you're going to need to be eating a lot of plants. And it's interesting that high-fiber foods also happen to be high-nutrient foods. And when you feed your body high-nutrient foods, the body has the tools, the resources that it needs in order to build good cells. And so if you're putting all of those, if you're eating a variety of plants, where you're eating every color of the rainbow every day, it will give you the nutrients you need, and the cells will heal themselves. So once the cells have healed themselves, the symptoms of diabetes go away. Well, we will learn more about toxic foods and what toxic foods not to eat, but we're going to concentrate, especially right here at first, on eating enough of the right stuff, and that is increasing our fiber content. So, recipes. Be adventuresome. I'd like you to make some kind of SMART goal that says, I'll try a new high-fiber recipe twice this week, or maybe 3 times this week, or whatever you can work into your schedule. You'll set your own goals in this course. And so plan for success. Try to get these different colors of the rainbow on your table, and don't forget to exercise. Now, there's several forms of exercise that we will talk about. And I'm just going to tell you what they are. And one is, when you eat a meal, when you eat a snack, you need to walk or do some kind of movement for 20 minutes immediately following that meal. This is very important. So the most important thing you can be doing is eating fiber. Probably the second most important thing that you can be doing is walking after the meals. And then avoid periods of inactivity. When you're sedentary, even if you're on a good workout program, if you're sedentary for long periods of time, it will cause problems with your blood sugar. So it doesn't require a lot of activity throughout the course of the day, but if you have a sedentary job, like a desk job, make it a point every 30 minutes at least. You get up, walk around the desk, go to the bathroom or down the hall to a water fountain or something. You hand carry an email across, instead of just firing that to somebody. Do something to get up and move every 20 or 30 minutes. And then it's also helpful if you do weight training and burst training. Now, burst training is where you do real intense activity for 20 or 30 seconds, and then you rest 1 to 2 minutes or until you catch your breath, and then repeat it again, the same cycle, exercise alternated with rest, alternating exercise and rest. Finally, sleep is extremely important. You need to be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. A lot of people with diabetes are often getting 6 hours or less a night. And so try to set a regular time that is scheduled for sleep. Don't watch television while you lay in bed. Try not to read your electronics within an hour of going to bed. And darken the room. The blacker the room, the better. Because in the very black of night, your body gives off a hormone called melatonin that will enhance your sleep. So sleep in a cave. If you have lights in the room or you keep the television going, try to learn a new habit and turn it all off. Make it as black and dark as you possibly can, and that will help enhance your sleep. Go to bed within 5 minutes of the same time every day, if at all possible. Weight. It's imperative that a person lose weight. So if you lose 2 pounds of weight loss and you have prediabetes, you lower your risk of diabetes by 11 to 12%. If you have a 10-pound weight loss, it lowers it 60%. But if you're over 60 years of age, 65 years of age rather, it lowers it by 70%. So those are huge numbers. If I could package that kind of stuff in a pill, I would be a very wealthy man. And the pharmaceutical companies would make sure of that. The average person with diabetes, from the day that they're diagnosed with diabetes, whatever your weight was at that time, the average person needs to lose about 17% of their body weight in order to be able to reverse. So there's some work to be done here. Don't worry, because next week we're going to be talking about how to make weight loss easier. It's an exciting lecture, and it's a lot of fun. We'll be sharing with you a variety of things that you don't know, I believe. So, blood sugar safety. This is important, folks. If you have diabetes, the doctor has you regulated with your medicines, but that's an artificial regulation. And if you're going to change your activity level, or you're going to change the food, your diet, then what that means is you can change what your numbers are because you've changed your lifestyle practices. Your doctor will need to make adjustments in that. You need a plan where you can safely come off of your medicines. For instance, I was teaching a program at a Baptist church, and two ladies walked in about the third or fourth night of the seminar. I asked them, well, how are your blood sugars doing? Oh, they're doing great. Well, both of these women were on insulin, and I said, well, what were your blood sugars this morning? One lady said it was 60, and the other one said it was 54. Thank you. Whoa was right, you know. I said, have you talked to your doctor? Oh, no, I have an appointment in 3 weeks. I said, not good enough. That is not good enough. You know, you need to be talking with your doctor right away. And they weren't so sure that was a good idea. They didn't want to bother their doctor. But that's the reason for the letter. Take the letter to your doctor. Make sure your doctor is informed that you're coming to a diabetes reversal program, and the people that attend this program typically will see blood sugars go down. Your blood pressure oftentimes will go down. In fact, a lowered blood pressure is one of the first signs that you might be reversing your diabetes. So make sure that you keep your doctor informed, and then check your blood sugar regularly. If you have the method, to use one of those little wrist blood pressure machines, it's a good idea to check your blood pressure as well, especially if you're on blood pressure medicines. Keep track of your numbers. Know what you're doing. And just remember, low blood sugar can kill. High blood sugar can also put you in the hospital. So let's be well informed. And your doctor, most doctors are very happy to give you a plan. Joel Furman, thank you. Dr. Joel Furman says that if you're on insulin and you have an AM blood sugar of 110 or below, he says you're being over-medicated. That's sort of his benchmark. But you need to follow what your doctor says. So if your doctor says, well, if your morning blood sugar runs below 90, then I want you to do this. Or if it's below 140, you can drop your insulin by three units, your long-term insulin. And then if it's above 140, you hold. Your doctor will have a plan he can give you where you can adjust your insulins or adjust your oral medications and do so safely. Now, test before you snack. Oh yes, please do. A lot of people say, I'm feeling shaky. I think I need a snack. They would say this to me all the time in the hospital. First thing I did is I went down the hall, grabbed the glucometer, came back to the room. 9 times out of 10, when they said they were shaky and they needed a snack, I would check the blood sugar and it'd be something like 240. So, if you're 240, don't snack. Now, if you're used to your blood sugar running 400 and your blood sugar is now 240, you may feel shaky. Now, that won't last long. What I encourage people to do is drink water, go up, take a walk, do some other interventions to try to get your mind off of it. Your body will rapidly adjust to that new lower level where you'll feel completely normal. So when you start having a blood sugar of 76, you'll feel fine one morning, It usually takes less than 3 days for that to happen. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, the best way that a person can control their diabetes is through diabetes self-management education. That's what we're doing here. That's the very best way. The second best way is through something we call diabetes self-management support. Now, what is that? That's where you get together and you talk to other people that are struggling with the disease. You're sharing recipes, you're sharing experiences, you're getting together and you're dialoguing. We're going to do some of that tonight when we break into some groups. And then the last thing that they say you should be doing is seeking medical treatment. I think we have this thing turned upside down. First thing we do is we go to the doctor and hold out our hands looking for a prescription. But that won't cause you to reverse. Your reversal has to happen in your home as you learn these different principles, and it'll happen one little decision at a time. I think it was, I was just reading a report the other day that says the average person makes, I think it's 12,000 different decisions in a day. And when a lot of those relate to diabetes, you add a whole bunch of those up, it doesn't take long to make a real big difference. Only you can reverse your diabetes. Dr. McEwen, John McEwen, was our medical director when we first developed this program. And he said, only you can reverse your diabetes. He said it's 10% doctor and it's 90% patient. And then, so I wrote that into the program. And he was sitting back there one day listening to our program again. And he piped up right in the middle of the program and he says, no, that's wrong. It's 5% doctor and it's 95% patient. So it's what you do that really makes the difference. So your doctor can only treat your symptoms. He can advise you to lose weight. He can also advise you to eat less fat. And he can advise you to get more exercise. But the choice is up to you. So, folks, we have gone through the first lecture of this program. And next week, we're going to be talking again, like I said, about making weight loss easier. For those of you that might be looking online, that will happen next Tuesday evening. The lecture will kick off right at around 6 o'clock live. Or you can follow up later on and get that on YouTube. There's a verse in Philippians that says, being confident of this very thing, he which hath done a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. We ask the Lord to help you reverse. He's going to continue working on you in the future, I believe. So we're going to break up into little groups in just a few minutes. And when we break into those groups, I want you to meet your health coach and share a little bit about yourself. Just introduce yourself, maybe, any little thing about of interest. And then I want you to dialogue together, discuss what you've learned tonight, and also complete your own personal SMART goals. Now, for those of you that are home, grab you a pencil and a piece of paper and write down what your SMART goals are. What kind of health goals would you like? How much fiber do you want to eat? We recommend that you start out, women, at 20 grams a day and increase it by 10 grams a day every week. So for the whole week until we meet back next week, you'd be doing 20 grams a day. Men would be doing 25. So 20 to 25. Next week, we'll go to 30 to 35. The following week, we're 40 to 45. And then the final week, we're 50 grams or more. And you stay at 50 grams or more for the rest of your life and to help make sure that you don't pick the diabetes up again. Anyway, and then every day, please sit down and review those SMART goals. Put the SMART goals somewhere that works for you at home. For one person, it might be in their Bible. If they read their Bible every day, Put the list in your Bible, and you can review it, pray over it. For some people, it might be the refrigerator door. Other people, it might be the coffee pot. Put it somewhere where you'll see it. It might be the mirror when you brush your teeth. You can review your goals there. I want you to review the goals every day and check. Did I meet today's goal or no? It's okay to say no, because not everybody will do it all the time. And I've asked your coaches to check your achievement record next week when you come in. Every week when you come in, I want them to check and see how you're doing. I really don't care whether you answer yes or no. I would like for you to be able to do all the things, but nobody can, realistically. And so do the best you can. But here's the important part. If you review those on a daily basis and you commit to them, that helps it sink into your subconscious mind, so that when you're making decisions, you will make them subconsciously. We had a follow-up to a program that we had done in Mont Eagle. And there was a group of people that were there. And one gentleman came back to the follow-up meeting because he just wanted to see what kind of results other people in the class were having. About a third of the people in the class, approximately, had reversed. And there was a portion of them, up to about 50%, that really did very well. They had improved their diabetes significantly. But then there was about half the class that were just information seekers. They wanted to know about this, but it wasn't the right time for them to implement this in their home. So, but this guy sat there and he listened to everybody telling their various stories of success. And he said, right at first he had spoken up and said, well, I didn't do anything. I just came to see what everybody else did. But right at the end, he held his hand up and he said, I had said that I didn't do anything. But as I was listening to everybody's story, he said, I began to realize that actually I did do something. I have made a lot of little changes subconsciously because of what I learned here in the class. He said, when I started this class, I was on 4 diabetes medicines. And he says, my doctors have already taken me off of 2. So, take courage, guys. What really makes this work is when we do it on a long-term basis. So what we want you to do is we want you to come back every week, and we'll give you some more information, but we want you to sit in your groups and talk with the other people that are in your groups, share information with them. Let's find out how other people are doing. Be vulnerable and share how you're doing. Look for solutions together. And as you do all this, you'll find out your life begins to change significantly. So, before we break into our groups, I want to go back to the idea of exercise. And let's do some burst exercise together. Now, this is not done immediately after you eat, but everybody stand up if you can. And if someone has medical conditions where you can't do this, you can sit in your chair and do them if you need to, and that's okay. We're all adults. We understand that there are people with physical disabilities or whatever else, and we'll accept you wherever you are. If you have a torn rotator cuff or something and you can't lift your arms above your head, that's okay. Go up where you can without causing yourself undue pain. If you can, let's step side to side, just get blood moving again and start making something happen here. So I usually do about a minute of warm-up before I go into these exercises. Then what we want to do is we want to do vigorous exercise as hard as you can go. We'll start out gentle with you the first night, but go as hard as you can go for about 20 to 30 seconds. The optimal is 30 seconds, but if you're not in shape and you haven't been doing this, then we're going with 20. And we've asked Karen if she would be kind enough to be our timekeeper, so she's going to sit there with her stopwatch, and she's going to tell us when 20 seconds is up. So, the first thing we're going to do is, they're going to start dancing over here for us, Anyway, let's get our arms out and let's start doing some rotations. You can rotate forward, Okay, you can continue to walk, step side to side. But we're getting the blood moving out of those arms. Okay, now you can go backwards. This is good. All right. So what happens? No, we're not done yet.
16, 17, 18, 19,
and 20.
stop.
Okay, now you stop. And we just go back to what we call active rest. We'll just continue stepping side to side. If you're walking on a track, you might race walk for 20 seconds, and then you slow down to just a slow pace, just so you keep moving just a little bit. And then when you caught your breath, then you go back just as hard as you can go, race walking. That would work well for an older individual like us. Okay, so...
Speak for yourself.
Well, thank you, I will.
Look around the room. There's some a little younger than you.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, okay. So what happens when you're doing this is in your cells, you remember there's a furnace and there's a cupboard. Okay? So the furnace has a certain amount of fuel that's already in it. When you do that burst for 30 seconds, you burn up what's in your furnace. You know how you have those bad dreams of the bear jumping out from behind the tree and chasing you, and you run just as hard as you can go.
Stop. You got to do your other now.
All right. We're going to do no jump jacks. So what we do, we step to the side and then back again. And then we step to the other side and back again. So,
all right, timer's going.
2. Yeah. Step to the left. Step to the right. Left.
Speed it up.
Right? Okay. Or you're getting the rhythm now.
He's not getting short of breath yet.
And people like Mike back there, he's just doing real well. He's got lots of energy to burn. Okay. All right, back to active rest, and I'll finish telling you what happens physiologically. In your cells, you burn up the fuel that's in that furnace. And while you're resting, your body reaches into the cupboard and it pulls out some of that reserve fuel and it throws it into the furnace. And within just a few seconds, you have replenished the amount of energy in the cell that you lost. But I was telling you about the dream. You know, when you run real hard or you exercise real hard, sometimes you just start slowing down and you just can't make it go any faster. That's really the point that we want to get to, because that's where you've used the maximum in the cell that there is to use. And anyway, we go back.
And get it out of the cupboard. You want to empty the cupboard.
You get it out of the cupboard. When you empty it out of the cupboard, if you're not eating for 2 hours after you do that, then typically you don't rebuild it all the way, and it decreases insulin resistance. More about that in the next time. We're going back to the no jump jacks one more time. We just learned those. This looks great. Isn't reversing diabetes fun? You get a group together and you do stupid stuff like this. Yes, I love it.
17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay. All right, back to active rest. And anyway, I was talking about the cells. Oh, in the cupboard. Yes.
When you finally use it up, the cells realize that they're not getting any more sugar put in there, so then they'll go and they take the gum out of the locks. So insulin can come along and move the sugar out of the bloodstream into the cell. That's what you want.
There was a doctor in London that decided he was going to test this. And so he measured his insulin resistance, and he did burst training 3 times a week, every other day, actually he did it for a month. And at the end of the month, he tested his insulin resistance again, and the insulin resistance had gone down by 26%. That is as much as you get out of taking a metformin tablet. Okay, so in a month, you could potentially leave your metformin tablet behind by doing this kind of exercise. Okay, now we're going to step this up a little bit. We're going to start running in place, and then we're going to do at the same time some curls and punches and whatever. So just follow me. Here we go. Curl, curl, curl. Curl, curl, curl. Oh, good. Yeah, that looks great. Now punch, punch, punch. Punch, punch, punch. And you can move over a little closer, and you might even be able to knock knuckles with the person next to you and punch to the side. Now over the head.
18, 19, 20.
Okay, now that's getting it up there. Y'all are doing great. It looks wonderful. If you have problems, physical problems, or you can't do this, we understand. Just do a milder version. Some of the times, we have people actually up here sitting in a chair. Walking up with a cane, they'll sit down in the chair, and they'll help us with our exercises. So that's all good stuff. Oh, okay. Here she goes. All right. So this time, what we're going to do, we'll take our elbow and we're going to cross it over to our opposite knee. Okay? So some of you can't do that very well. You'll just be doing a little bit. That's okay. But some of you can be real vigorous, like Gary over here.
All right, started it.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. Yes. Yeah, just do what you can do. That's all right. It looks great. And this just gives you some ideas of things you can do. Actually,
18, 19, 20.
Okay. And let's cool down.
20.
Good question. 20. No, 10, it's
10 reps.
10 reps. 10 reps. So that means exercise, rest, exercise, rest, exercise, rest for 10 times, 10 cycles. It'll take you about 15 minutes, and you do it every other day.
For starters.
For starters. And then as you increase it, you can increase it to 6 days a week. But if you do 7 days a week, the physiologists tell us that you go back to 0. You lose the effectiveness of it. So our bodies are made so we need 1 day of rest out of every 7. So, interesting stuff. Okay. Now, let's gather around tables.
Before they do, let's talk. Did you talk to them about the recipe just briefly?
No, I did not. Thank you.
Let's do that.
Come on in so people online can see you. You can go ahead and have a seat again.
The recipe that we did tonight, and I don't have a copy up here with me. Let me see real quick. Let's see. I don't think I do. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. She got me one. The recipe that we did tonight, there were a couple things that are important for you to know, and that is a lot of you may not have been eating pasta because that's one of the things, it's a carb, and they tell you, not to do. That was a whole grain pasta, and also she cooked it and she chilled it. Debbie, it should be in your book. It should be, is it in the letter no recipe? Okay. Thank you, Debbie. So those are a couple things. We will talk about starches another night, and you'll learn the reason that when we cook pasta, we want to chill it before we eat it. There's a reason for that. But with all of the different things that were added, the broccoli, the frozen peas, she had kidney beans, olives, tomatoes, parsley, fresh basil, and the marinara sauce. All of those things, and I don't have the cans and such up here, but I believe on the kidney beans, a half a cup of them was 7 grams of fiber. So that's a good source of the fiber. And then you add the broccoli and the other things as well. So the purpose of this is that it is a high fiber salad that you can do. And that, when you get all the ingredients together, is 45 grams of fiber.
So if you make this and you eat half of it,
share it.
You've made your whole day's goal of fiber for this week.
For one, if you
just half of the recipe, just half of the recipe.
Half of the recipe, you would have 22.5 grams of fiber. So it's a very good source of fiber. And the other thing is those beans help to slow down as your body digests the pasta. Then the beans slow down the absorption of it. So it's a very good food for you to have. So
So we're going to have that recipe handed around to us? but-
it was, well, it's loose and we slid it in the book. If you don't have a book, we'll make sure that you get a copy of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Yes.
make sure that you get a sample. If you don't want to eat the sample of food here, we can cover it up for you and send you home with it so that you can have it to taste. Now, if you don't like the kidney beans, what about, do you like black beans? Yes, well, throw black beans in instead, or throw black beans in addition to. What if you don't like broccoli? Is there another green vegetable that you like? Spinach, yes, that's a very good one that you could add to it. Asparagus, yeah, that would be really good. Okay, so it's very flexible. If you find a high fiber bean that you like, or chickpeas, those would be another. We like to use the chickpea pasta or the lentil pasta. You can use those as well. But whatever you can get locally is very helpful, okay?
Now, just another word about your foods.
We want you to start where you are.
Yes, that's what I wanted to bring out to them, and the idea left me.
And add to. So like breakfast in the morning. If you have a bowl of oatmeal, instead of just having oatmeal with milk on it and then maybe a piece of toast, well, throw in your bowl of oatmeal some applesauce, or even better yet would be some cut up apple. Sprinkle on some seeds. Put on some, grapes, other fruit, any of the fruits. Berries are
so
really good. And it's wonderful if you can get things that are in season, but if you can't, the next best are frozen. So frozen raspberries, frozen blueberries, those are options that you can add to your oatmeal. And instead of just being a bowl of oatmeal that has 4 grams of fiber, by adding some of those other things, you can get it up to 12 grams of fiber. And that's a much better breakfast. Yes, ma'am. Add nuts, yes, almonds, walnuts, pecans, and add seeds, a little sprinkle of chia seeds or a sprinkle of flaxseed. Those are good additions.
Well, I didn't bring a picture tonight, but one of my favorites is doing something we call breakfast bowls. Breakfast bowl, you start with maybe just a little bit in the bottom of your bowl of whole grain cereal like shredded wheat or Cheerios or maybe some granola, or even sometimes I just do dry oatmeal. Just put some dry oatmeal in the bottom of my bowl for the starter, but then I'll put maybe a chopped up strawberry or 2, not much more than that, a small handful, half a dozen, a dozen blueberries. But you add a bunch of stuff like that, things like sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds or something like that, chia seeds, some flax seeds. Those go great on a breakfast bowl. Put all this in, dump a little bit of plant-based milk on it. The reason I say that is it has fiber in it. 1 cup of plant-based milk is going to have a couple grams of fiber. So anyway, you can do that, and you can have a high fiber meal. And one of the things you'll find when you're doing something like that, if I do a high fiber breakfast like that, I'll go 6 to 7 hours before I really feel hungry again. If I'm doing biscuits and eggs for breakfast, if I eat at 7 o'clock in the morning, usually by 10 o'clock after a biscuits and egg breakfast, I am coming apart at the seams. My body just is I'm starting to shake, and
Correct.
I wasn't getting enough fiber. You eat the fiber gives you satiety, and you can go a long time between meals without feeling hungry.
And the fiber slows down the absorption of the sugar. So as the biscuits are being digested, it's giving off the sugar. But if you have the fiber, then you don't have that effect.
But let's talk about the biscuit and egg breakfast. We want you to start where you are. If you're always eating biscuits and eggs for breakfast, what can you add to the breakfast to increase your fiber load now. You're going to have to think plants.
Whole wheat flour instead of just plain white flour.
Okay,
That
so you
helps.
make your biscuits out of whole wheat pastry flour instead of white pastry flour.
Gravy with good stuff in it, ground up cheese or something that will thicken it.
There you go. Okay, we're getting some good ideas here.
Okay, what else
Somebody
can
else.
we do? Add spinach with your gravy?
No,
No,
not-
no.
As a salad on the side? On the side.
Oh.
Okay, we're doing it on the side. Yes, uh-huh.
Instead of eggs, have some cooked beans and gravy, usually on top of the
Wonderful idea,
Yes.
because the beans are, remember, they're the king of fiber. So breakfast beans. There are places in this world that if they haven't eaten beans, they haven't had breakfast. Because that is some places of the world, that's the breakfast food is beans. So, there'll be some changes that you may need to make here. But try to start where you are and add some kind of something, if you think something fresh with every meal. Okay, so I'm going to have biscuits and eggs if I throw in a banana, or maybe I have an orange along with that. I've just
Apple.
increased my fiber load. The apples are great, plums are great, the berries
Pineapple.
are just wonderful. The pineapple's real high glycemic, but it still has fiber in it. So, you'd have to be careful with the pineapple at first. Yes, sir.
Often when you go to a doctor, they'll say, don't eat too much fruit. Don't eat that stuff.
That's true. You do hear a lot of that. And you're going to find out that we tell you a lot of things that go against what we have heard historically. But folks, there have been studies that have been done on this. And if you adopt this kind of lifestyle that we're talking about, studies indicate it's 3 to 3.5 times more effective than the standard ADA program that he was referring to. So if you have something that's 3 times more effective, why wouldn't you want to try it? Right at first, you may notice your blood sugars go a little bit higher. I don't get very concerned about that. But what you want to do is you want to get that fiber level up. And as you get the fiber level up, the sugars will just come right on down. They'll come right on down. I've seen it happen many, many times. Yes, ma'am.
So I guess I love oatmeal, but I hardly ever eat it because oatmeal more my sugar is really high.
Right.
So I just think it incorporate like more fiber with that.
Yes.
My day, and it'll all eventually level out.
Yes, it
Yes.
will. The first week to 2 weeks, you may see some higher blood sugar numbers. But then you'll start noticing that your AM blood sugar begins inching down. And it will, the symptoms of diabetes that you had will happen in reverse order to what they occurred as you were getting the sickness, the disease. So, that's exactly what will happen. Okay, let's break up into our groups. Let's see, we have, I think if we take
Those
those
and these.
and these. Okay, yeah, if you guys on the front table will